If you're trying to decide whether a whole house standby generator is the right move for your household, you're probably asking three things: who will actually benefit from it, who can safely skip it, and whether the price makes sense for the average homeowner. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Those are the exact questions I wrestled with before I even looked at the specs. Because the last thing I want is to spend a few $1,000s on a machine that sits idle most of the year, or, worse, one that can't keep up when the grid finally gives out. I've spent the past few weeks talking to a handful of electricians, reading a lot of forum threads about whole house backup power, and watching a few real-life outage drills. The consensus is clear. The biggest mistake people make is buying a generator that's either too small for their home's load or too large, and thus overly expensive to install and maintain. That's why I focused on a unit that promises whole house protection at 26 kilowatts, paired with a 200-amp transfer switch and built-in cellular connectivity. In plain terms, that means the system should be able to run most standard American homes, including central air, kitchen appliances, and a few larger loads without you having to babysit individual circuits. Let's start with who should consider this Generac 26 kilowatts model. If you live in an area that experiences frequent, multi-hour outages, think severe storms in the Midwest, winter freezes in the Northeast, or wildfire-related blackouts on the West Coast, having a reliable power source isn't just a convenience, it's a safety net. Families with medical equipment that runs on electricity, home-based businesses that can't afford downtime, or anyone who works from home and relies on a stable internet connection will feel the most immediate benefit. The built-in cellular connectivity lets you monitor the generator from your phone, so you'll know the moment it kicks in and can troubleshoot remotely if something goes awry. That kind of peace of mind is hard to quantify, but for many it's worth the upfront cost. On the flip side, if you live in a region where outages are rare and usually last less than an hour, the investment might feel excessive. A portable generator or a smaller standby unit could cover the essentials like a refrigerator and a few lights without the need for a full transfer switch and professional installation. Also, if your home's total electrical demand is well under 20 kilowatts, you're essentially paying for capacity you'll never use, which can inflate both the purchase price and the long-term operating costs. Now, let's talk about the practical strengths that set this Generac apart from the generic market offerings. First, the 200-amp transfer switch is a game-changer for whole house coverage. Many smaller units only feed a few dedicated circuits, meaning you still have to decide which appliances get power during an outage. With a 200-amp switch, the generator automatically takes over the entire panel, so everything from your HVAC system to your electric water heater runs without you having to flip any manual breakers. In a real-world scenario, imagine a winter storm knocking out the grid for 6 hours. Your furnace stays on, your hot water never runs cold, and you can keep cooking meals without resorting to a camp stove. That seamless transition is something you won't get from a portable unit that requires you to manually plug in each device. Second, the remote monitoring feature adds a layer of convenience that feels almost futuristic. The cellular module sends status updates straight to an app on your phone, fuel level, runtime, any fault codes, so you don't need to step outside to check whether the machine is running smoothly. I've seen cases where a homeowner got an early warning about a low oil condition, fixed it before the generator ever had to start, and avoided a costly repair. For anyone who isn't comfortable tinkering with mechanical equipment, that remote insight is a solid safety net. Third, Generac emphasizes lowest total cost of ownership. While the purchase price is certainly at the higher end of the market, the brand's extensive service network and the fact that the unit is designed for long-term operation mean fewer surprise maintenance bills over the years. The engine is built to run on natural gas or propane, which are generally cheaper per kilowatt than diesel, especially if you already have a gas line to the house. In practice, that translates to lower fuel costs each time the generator runs, a point that becomes more noticeable if you experience regular outages. No product is without its trade-offs, and this one is no exception. The most obvious drawback is installation. A 26-kilowatt system requires a professional electrician to mount the unit, hook it up to the transfer switch, and integrate it with your home's gas line. That process can run anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000, depending on local labor rates and any additional site work needed like a concrete pad or a sound attenuation enclosure. If you're on a tight budget, That extra expense can push the overall price well beyond $10,000. Another practical weakness is the size and